Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Engineering is an exact science. In the Galactic Empire, becoming a warp technician requires 40 years of study, 3 PhDs in quantum mechanics, and the ability to calculate the stability of a singularity in your head. Aliens build things to last, but when they break catastrophically. To an alien engineer, if a quantum phase inverter cracks, the laws of physics dictate that the ship must be abandoned. There is no middle ground. But humans, specifically those from the southern regions of North America, operate on a different set of laws. Laws that state, if it moves and it shouldn't, use duct tape. If it doesn't move and it should, use WD-40. When the flagship of the Nebula fleet suffered a total engine collapse in deep space, the finest minds in the galaxy gave up. They accepted their fate. They didn't count on Cletus. Cletus was a janitor. Or a prisoner. Or maybe he just wandered onto the ship looking for a bathroom. This is the story of how Southern engineering saved the universe using nothing but household trash and a complete lack of respect for the second law of thermodynamics. If you have ever fixed a leaking pipe with chewing gum, smash that like button. You're a genius. And if you want to see a $1 trillion spaceship held together by a bungee cord from a 1998 Chevy Silverado, subscribe and ring the bell. Hand me that wrench. No, the big one. The SS Galactia was dead in the water. Deep in the engineering bay, the pulsar core, a massive rotating crystal that powered the ship's jump drive, had stopped spinning. A hairline fracture had appeared in the containment housing. "It is over," Chief Engineer Val said, her 4 translucent arms drooping in despair. "The molecular alignment is shattered. We need a Starforge to repair this. We have 2 hours of life support remaining." The other engineers began to chant their final prayers to the great algorithm. Then a voice came from the shadows. "Y'all look like a bunch of kicked puppies. What's the holdup?" Cletus stepped out. He was wearing a hat that said Base Pro Shops, and was wiping his hands on a greasy rag. He was drinking a lukewarm can of synthetic soda. "The hypercrystalline core is fractured, human," Val snapped. "It is a complex issue of quantum stability. You wouldn't understand." Cletus walked up to the core. It was humming a low, dying sound. He kicked it. Clang. "Hey!" Val screamed. "That is a billion-credit instrument." "Yeah, and it's leaking," Cletus said, pointing at a spray of blue sparks. "You got a leak in your line. Probably a loose gasket or a hairline crack. Y'all just stand in here looking at it?" Cletus reached into his emergency kit, a bucket he had stolen from the cleaning closet. He pulled out a roll of silver tape. "What is that?" Val asked, leaning in. "A reflective shielding? A nanofiber adhesive." "It's duct tape," Cletus said. "The handyman's secret weapon." He ripped a long strip, re-yip, the sound echoing through the sterile room like a gunshot. Cletus began slapping the tape onto the glowing radioactive crystal. "Stop!" Val shrieked. "That crystal is at 5,000 Kelvin. The tape will vaporize. You will cause a meltdown." But the tape didn't vaporize. For some reason, the silver adhesive seemed to bond with the quantum energy. "It's holding the pressure," Cletus noted, smoothing the tape with his thumb. "But we need more tension. You got any rope? Or maybe some heavy-duty rubber bands?" "We have gravitational tethers?" Val offered, confused. "Nah, too fancy," Cletus said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a weathered, orange bungee cord. The metal hooks were slightly rusted. He hooked one end to the warp drive's main intake pipe and stretched it, grunting with the effort, all the way across the core, hooking the other end to a high-voltage conduit. The core groaned. The blue light stabilized. "No," Val whispered, her sensors going haywire. "This is impossible. The bungee cord is creating a mechanical counterpressure that is compensating for the gravitational shear? The math is nonsense." Cletus wasn't finished. He took a piece of bubblegum out of his mouth, bright pink and half-chewed, and jammed it into a small air leak on the cooling line. "There," Cletus said, patting the machine. "She ain't pretty, but she'll get you to the next station." "Engineers!" Val shouted. "Check the levels." A robot scanned the core. Integrity at 98%. Warp field stable. Energy output, optimal? The aliens looked at Cletus. They looked at the silver tape. They looked at the pink gum. "You fixed it," Val said, stunned. "With trash." "You fixed a Type 3 civilization's crowning achievement with household debris." "Ain't trash if it works," Cletus said, taking a sip of his soda. "Y'all overthink things. Now, you gonna start the engine or are we gonna sit here and talk about it?" Val hesitantly pulled the lever. The engine roared to life. Usually, the jump drive sounded like a harmonic choir of angels. Now it sounded like a tractor with a hole in the muffler. Chug-ilugi, chug-ilugi. The ship vibrated violently. A picture fell off the wall. It sounds unhealthy, the pilot buzzed over the intercom. Just keep it under 5,000 RPMs and don't make any sharp left turns. Cletus yelled back. And if you smell toast, tell me. The SS Galactia limped into the nearest space station. A team of Imperial inspectors came on board to see how the impossible repair had been made. When they saw the duct tape and the bungee cord, 3 of them fainted. This is a safety violation of galactic proportions, the head inspector screamed. This ship should have exploded 10 times over. But it didn't, Vol said, looking at Cletus with a mix of fear and admiration. The human says it is Southern engineering. It exists outside the laws of the Empire. The Empire eventually patented the Cletus patch. They started mass-producing rolls of silver tape, but they couldn't get it to work for them. They didn't understand that the tape only works if the person applying it has a mullet and a complete disregard for their own safety. Cletus was given a medal. He used it to scrape the ice off his windshield. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Science is great, but sometimes, you just need a guy who knows his way around a toolbox. If you have a temporary fix in your house that has lasted more than 5 years, hit that like button. Comment below, what is the craziest thing you've ever fixed with duct tape? Subscribe. And keep a bungee cord in your trunk. You never know when you'll need to jump to light speed. Engine start.